Hi, how are you today? So in this video I'm going to be doing a little review of one of my real go-to cassette decks. I probably use this cassette deck more than any other in my collection, and I'm going to explain why in this video. This is the Realistic SCT 41, and this was sold by Radio Shack. It was sold starting in the fall of 1983. And later on in the video, I'll actually show you a clipping of the listing for this cassette deck in the Radio Shack catalog. Now, back when it was first released in the fall of '83, it sold for $160. Now, if you adjust for inflation, that amount today would be about $450. Yeah. Now, my history with this machine, I actually bought this cassette deck secondhand, and I bought it secondhand way back in 1994, and it still works excellent. I've never had a day of trouble with this cassette deck. It's always worked perfectly. And you know, it's kind of interesting because a lot of people love to put down Realistic. A lot of people say, oh, Realistic, that was a poor man's brand of electronics. Well, I would really readily disagree with that. I have many pieces of Realistic gear that are 30, 40 years old that are still working perfectly. I've never had to have this thing repaired or serviced. It's always worked like a top from the day I first bought it. So again, I bought this secondhand in 1994. It still works great. Back at that time, I can't remember exactly what I paid for it. I believe I might have paid somewhere in the vicinity of $30 or $40 way back then, 31 years ago, and I've certainly got my money's worth out of it. So in this video, I'm just going to go through a quick rundown of the features of the SCT 41. Again, a real workhorse, and I've gotten so many hours of enjoyment out of this deck. If you consider that I paid about $40 for it, I definitely got my money's worth. So let's have a look at this thing. So let's start over here on the left. Up here in the top left, we have the power button. And I'll turn the power on just to show you what it looks like when the power's on. And you can hear the motor running very faintly. And over here you see the power light, the green power light that comes on, and it's basically ready to go. Okay, and over here you have your eject. It has a very soft eject. I'll demonstrate that for you. Yeah, nice and smooth. Always love that. And you can see here it says full auto stop. So looking at the buttons, starting on the left, we have record, play, rewind, fast forward, pause, and stop. They're kind of like these little rectangular buttons. They're very easy to operate, very pleasant to the touch. And also this particular deck, and I plan to make a video about this particular feature sometime in the future. This particular cassette deck came from a generation where there was a feature called automatic search music system. And basically what that meant was anytime the tape was being played, you could hit fast forward or rewind, and it would either rewind or go fast forward, and it would find the space between the songs, and it would stop at the silence between the songs. And it's really awesome and really cool, and just a really quick, convenient way to jump ahead to the next song. It's really ingenious, and it was quite a popular thing back in '83, '84. And this deck came with that automatic search music system. I really love it. I actually, to this day, I still use it quite frequently. It just makes the cassette playing experience a lot of fun and very enjoyable. So over here you have your type switch, and you can move it up and down. So you have normal, chrome, or metal. Okay, and again, very nice and smooth yet strong feeling. And over here you have your Dolby noise reduction setting. So you have off, B type, or C type. Yeah, so again, tape type, cassette type, and Dolby noise reduction. Here you have your recording level controls. Here you have the left, here you have the right, and they're absolutely lovely. They're extremely smooth, very nice to operate, very, very pleasant to the touch. Just has a really buttery smooth feel to it. I love it. Here you have two 1/4-inch jacks that are intended for microphone input. So you have left and right, and it basically says left mono and right. So back in the day when I would make mixtapes, I would plug my mixer, the stereo output from the mixer, into these two jacks right here. Again, it's intended for microphone, but the signal coming out of a mixer is very, very low level, very quiet, so it perfectly matched the connection here. I would just input the left and right outputs from my mixer, and away I would go, and I would make a mix directly to cassette, and it sounded great. Here we have a headphone jack, and up here we have a tape counter. As I mentioned before, we have our power light indicator, and here we have our LED level indicators. And they're very responsive, very bright, they work very, very well. And again, they make the recording experience a lot of fun. I love that old-fashioned LED style audio recording level indicator. It's a lot of fun. Not quite as fun as the typical needle VU meters, but still a lot of fun. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the back of this deck. So here we have the back of the SCT-41. Dead simple. There's not much on the back. We just have our RCA left and right in and our RCA left and right out. And we have our power cable over here, and that is pretty much it. So that's the back of the SCT-41. Now, as I mentioned before, typically if I was using a very quiet signal, like the signal coming out of a mixer, I would plug that into the microphone jacks on the front. But of course, if I was wanting to record another cassette deck or a radio or a turntable, I would use the line in on the back here. And typically I would use the line out to connect to other devices. For example, if I want to digitize an old cassette, oftentimes I would use this deck as my player, and I would run the line out from here into whatever device I was using to digitize that particular cassette. Okay, let's go back to the front of the SCT-41. So again, I would say that this has really been a completely reliable, dependable cassette deck for me. Again, I've been using this thing for 31 years, never had a day of trouble with it, always worked excellently. And again, as I said, I really don't understand why a lot of people love to put down Realistic, because in my opinion, I have tons of old Realistic gear that still works as good as the day it was new, and I've never had any trouble at all with most of my Realistic gear. It works fantastically. If you happen to run across this deck or anything similar to it in a secondhand store or a thrift store or on an online shop like eBay, and if it's being sold for a decent price, go ahead, please. I don't think you'll be disappointed at all. If I ever ran into another one of these secondhand, I would snap it up immediately, especially if it was in good working order. Again, I absolutely love this cassette deck. The sound is great. It's got really clean highs, really good lows. It just sounds great in many different applications that I've used it in. So in a moment, I'm going to share some specs for this cassette deck. You'll see them on your screen, and as I mentioned before, I'm also going to show you the original listing for this particular cassette deck in the Radio Shack catalog. So my question to you, do you own the Realistic SCT-41? Do you own any type of Realistic cassette deck? What do you think about it? Do you like them? Do you collect Realistic products? Were you a big fan of Radio Shack? Please feel free to leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. As always, feel free to leave a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do. It always helps my channel grow, and it's always greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. We'll see you again next time. Take care. Bye-bye.